Hey, finally, in 1980s news, Superman has begun filming. Now, if you guys didn't know, almost every 4 years, the Gregorian calendar receives its necessary realignment in the form of a leap year. To achieve
just happened.
This,
Yeah.
there's an extra day that's added to February. You knew that already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, we've been to public school. I mean,
As it turns out, well, almost every 4 years it happens.
Huh?
Oh.
Huh?
Doesn't happen every 4 years, it turns
It's
out.
not every 4 years? Oh.
Yeah, no, because it's, they count for the fact that we have the 365 days, right? Which isn't 364. So it's actually 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 56 seconds.
Huh.
So to count for that, we can't do it every 4 years. Otherwise, we'd still get thrown off. So we don't do it on a fourth year if that year is divisible by 100, but not divisible by 400. I feel like John knew this already. John probably knew all this already. He looks bored.
He's shaking his head.
I think John knew that
I
already.
didn't know it. I'm just waiting for the interesting part.
There's an interesting part.
John just need another.
That was nice. That was great.
John just need another $1.
Oh, all right. Cha-ching.
Anyway, all right, back to the story. So what you probably don't know is that it turns out that February 29th is actually also the birthday of Clark Kent.
Oh.
And this year, February 29th, not only was the birthday of the character from DC Comics, but also the start of the forthcoming Superman movie.
Okay.
It turns out that the Clark Kent's had a different birthdays over the decades since his first introduction, years ago. But it was cemented on a 1976 DC Comics, quote, super calendar that listed a number of other historic occasions associated with DC Comics, including the fictional birthdays of these of comic book characters. What am I hearing here?
Oh,
it's my fan. My computer fan is running.
Okay.
It's because every time I play that video, I think the fan turns off.
So it's more than your computer can handle.
Yes. Too hot
because of the gate, John. It seems like it's silent when I'm not talking. Then when I start talking,
you hear it hums in.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Clark Kent, aka Superman, sorry if I spoiled that for anyone, is only like legally 12 years old because he's had so few actual birthdays?
Well, it turns out, John, that the earliest explanation they gave for why they chose February 29th, a leap year, was to account for the fact that Superman continued to look young, even though he was, several years older than his first introduction.
What?
Because that's how time works.
Yeah, right?
Exactly. So
I didn't age those 3 years. Rock on.
So they've since come up with another reason for the fact that he never seems to age, but they don't explain why Lois also looks the same age. I mean, so it's kind of stupid.
He just keeps getting new Loises. That's why.
Yeah. Tosses her into the
next. I can auction off. This used to be a Lois. Can sell it.
John, it popped into my head, but I didn't say it. It's like the Legos. Like the Legos.
You're too sweet. Yes, I know. Yes.
I love how Kat has to explain your joke.
She just cat-splained me.
Yeah. Anyway, also, as I mentioned here, as announced by James Gunn, this leap day was also part of the start of principal photography for his in-production Superman film. In a post celebrating the first day of filming, Gunn also shared an image of the Superman logo from the film, which was previously called Superman Legacy and is now just called Superman. Hey, hang on. You're not a Superman fan? Is that it, John?
That's not it. No, go ahead. We'll get to that part.
Oh.
What's interesting about the logo that he shared of Superman, which seems to be across his chest, is that it has a dusting of snow on it. Well, as it turns out, filming has commenced in Norway. has commenced in Norway. The director opened up to a Norwegian outlet about the first scene he filmed and why he chose Svalbard as the filming location. He says, we have, quote, we have filmed the first scenes in Svalbard, which show Superman fleeing to the Fortress of Solitude.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Now here's
So it's Superman Frozen Empire too. Nice.
Yes, of course. That's why I have this image that you were seeing there, Kat. This is an image that's been captured of them preparing to shoot there. Of course, you know, this could be the set of The Thing. 1982's The Thing.
It could.
You know?
I see the wind machines, and I see there's dollies in there, and
Giant
big,
fans.
box full of junk, and yeah.
Gunn said that we wanted a place that was beautiful and felt like being in the middle of the Arctic. So there you go. So there's a reason Superman's fleeing back to his Fortress of Solitude. Now, the film was originally called Legacy. They changed the title because Legacy seemed to imply things that Gunn originally thought might be included in his film, but ultimately when he finished the screenplay, he thought, you know what, that's not what's happening here. I think one of the good things they're doing wisely is they're not doing another origin story. Instead, this is Superman in the middle of being Superman, wrestling with what all that it means to be a superhero, and also being part Kryptonian and having been raised by humans. So, you know, identifying with our species as well. So I think more interesting stuff, you know, the stuff that you want to get to past all that origin stuff usually in these films. And everybody knows, right? Do you need to know? I mean,
I already know.
Oh, you do, yeah.
You see a cop film, you don't see the guy going to the academy. I mean, he's a cop.
Right. I wonder how he became a cop. Gee, I mean,
Well, I'm glad you asked. Yeah.
And they already covered that in Police Academy. We already we know
That's
what
right.
it's
We
like.
saw that.
Yes.
Yeah. My yawn wasn't against Superman. It was the DC extended universe that has they have started and faltered and started and failed and thought they were off on a, you know, and then they went in a direction and then that ended up nowhere. And so I'm having trouble once again mustering enthusiasm for the DC extended universe because they keep telling me this is it. And then they hit the reset button now at least twice in recent memory. So like, good Superman film, happy to see it, but it's supposed to be this anchor of the new extended universe. And I'm like, quit saying that. Just make a good movie. And then if it's good, then that can be the cornerstone of the universe. Don't put the weight on this thing and go, so, you know, like they did with Iron Man and Hulk for Marvel. They made those two films basically back to back or at the same time. Yeah. Hoping against hope that one or the other of them would take off. And Iron Man did, luckily. Yeah. And here they have one movie and they've already failed twice. And they're just saying, this is it. This is the new one. And I think they're putting undue pressure on the film, on the filmmaker, on the actors, and on the legacy. Wait till something organically becomes a universe and then flesh it out. So
I see. Yeah.
Good point.
That's my concern. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Look, I'm a bigger DC fan than I am a Marvel fan, and I love the Marvel films. I've was saying for years that I'm a DC Comics guy because I would read DC Comics, but as far as the films go, I definitely love those films much better than anything that DC had offered till then. That said, I have great faith in James Gunn because for the most part, I like his films.
Sure.
The last Guardians of the Galaxy I thought was, we didn't really need that. But I really enjoyed his Suicide Squad. I like his, what is his John Cena show? That's a spinoff of that.
Peacemaker.
I love that.
Hilarious. I love
those
that.
supposedly are still part of this universe. So I generally like his writing and his tone and his direction. But I agree with you, John, in that sense that they didn't have to announce all these plans. And it's going to look foolish if Superman is terrible.
It's a flop. You're like, oh, now what about your universe? Yeah.
What is the benefit of announcing a dozen films that are coming out that are not in production yet for something that hasn't really taken off yet? I don't get that.
I saw in the chat, Inscrutable Owl said, in a very timely fashion, Warner Brothers will just shelve it.
Just shelve it.
That's true. I mean,
You're not wrong.
Yep.
You're not wrong.
Now, before we even see Superman, we're going to see Creature Commandos. I believe that's a straight to Max situation, but Superman will be the first to film in the theaters. I'm pretty sure. What I'm really excited about, though, is, look, I'm an Ohio resident. So I learned that according to an Ohio motion picture tax credit application that was filed under the project's code name, Genesis, the production will move to the Buckeye State beginning April 1st, where cameras will roll in Cleveland and Ohio. I'm sorry, in Cleveland and Cincinnati. Now, while the application doesn't specify, the precise filming locations, the iconic characters connected to both of those cities. You may recall that writers Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster created Superman while attending Cleveland's Glenville High School in 1933. And Union Terminal in Cincinnati was the inspiration for another iconic building.
Hall of Justice.
Superman. It's not going. Where's it not going here?
Meanwhile,
Superman lore.
Back at the train museum.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a photo of the real location, the actual Union terminal there in Cincinnati, which, as John has mentioned, was the inspiration for artist Al Gumer, I'm going to say, who drew it for the 1970s animated Super Friends series.
Yes.
Today, it's the home of the Cincinnati Museum. Although I'll say, when you go there, you can't help but feel you're going to somewhere much more important and interesting than the Cincinnati Museum, which is fantastic.
Look how impressive and gothic it is. I mean, just look at that arch. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I learned about this on listening to a podcast, a Gen X Grown Up podcast.
Well, what do you know about that?
Fuck that show. Fuck them.
Meanwhile,
never been there.
on some other show.
No other shows. This is the only show. Now I am angry. No. Okay.
No.
You wouldn't like
Anyway,
Will when he's angry.
I got to tell you, there was a period of time where this Union Tower wasn't being used for anything, I don't believe. And it was only within the last 10 years that it became this museum. I was really so disappointed that they didn't make it into a Superman museum. You know, they have those other elsewhere, and there was one that was just recently developed out in I think where Brandon lives, right, Brandon? Maybe
Yes, Brandon mentions.
Which is what? Smallville? I don't remember. What is it called? Clarksville?
Right, yeah.
Brandon's here in the audience. Here
is he in Illinois?
But yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a real missed opportunity, and especially since it was just at the start of this, pop media boom, new infatuation with superheroes. Now maybe they were more prescient than I would have been, because it's waning now, as John pointed out. But I don't know. Anyway,
and people still love trains, so I think it is a train museum, isn't it? That's what I read. That's what I remember.
No, it's just a museum.
Oh, it was. So the train affiliation that I had in my head was that it was a station initially.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Oh,
got it. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be a train. Come on.
Yeah.
Metropolis, Illinois, says Brandon. Metropolis, yeah.
Oh, of course. I knew it was
naturally.
a tiny museum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, look, I don't know why else they would film in Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati does have, it's a neat town. It's a great town. And it does have some buildings that have an older look still, even to this day, that might play into, or maybe a timeless look. We don't know when they're setting this. I'm assuming it's modern day, but it may have a building that still has the architecture we most associate with a sort of golden age Superman, maybe.
Sure.
Kind of like they did in the 1978 Superman. That was a contemporary film. But, they used the New York Post building, I want to say, I think it was, as the Daily Planet. And it had that very sort of, I don't know, architecture, but that was that style that would have been keeping with a more, older generation Superman.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, kind of gothic.
I'm going to tell you right now, though, they used to film a lot of movies in Cleveland, and I would go down and see the ones I was interested in. They shot Spider-Man right outside of my office when I was working one day. And the old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3, actually. Yeah. The worst Spider-Man.
Oh, no.
Did you get to meet Tobey Maguire?
He wasn't even here. It was just a stuntman the whole time.
Oh, okay.
But they shot the Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier,
Winter Soldier,
Because downtown Cleveland, we had this stretch of road that could be New York. The buildings, most of them are not nearly as tall as New York buildings, but they could fill that in, or you wouldn't even see it on screen. So they filmed a lot of stuff down here. And then, for some reason, Cleveland went and built all this stuff on that street that now keeps it from looking like New York, or from a camera truck couldn't even get down the street because they put the god-awful giant chandelier, literally a giant chandelier hanging in the middle of the street. What? Yes, really? Enormous.
That makes no sense.
And now, guess what? They don't.
Does it drop on New Year's every year? They drop it to the street?
I have my way with it.
Yeah, this year it will.
Anyway, if they're shooting Superman here and anybody's here, I would love to go down and see that. That'd be fun. The film stars David Corenswet, I'm going to say, as the Man of Steel. Rachel Brosnahan. I've seen her on was it on that Marvelous Miss Maisel? That's a good show. She's on that. She's Lois Lane and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. There's a bunch of other people in there that you know as well that are good actors. We're not going to see it though until July of 2025, if that date even sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good luck.